Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wednesday podcast, episode 16. How are we still alive?
I don't know.
Sheffield Wednesday have somehow managed to, at least when you're watching this podcast on the Sunday, by Tuesday it might be looking a little bit grim with the Rotherham game in hand, but somehow, despite not doing well themselves, have had the other teams around them manage to bottle it to a point where Wednesday is still in and could potentially still be a championship side.
I believe in miracles, so I'm going to ask you, what did you do over Easter, Mr. Jesus, to put us in this position?
I nearly called you a sexy thing there. I
can tell you've been doing this since 12:30.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know, I've been doing this podcast. We did 2 live streams before this podcast.
We've both been in front of a computer since about 12:30.
Yeah, we did Wednesday versus Forest and then Derby versus Swansea. I can currently see the time of recording this, it dates it, but I can currently see the Fulham manager getting ready for the Chelsea match after the Swansea manager, even though he played a weakened team, managed to come back in our favour. Yeah. We'll get into the football in a second though. We got some housekeeping to do. So since we last read reviews, we have got 2 new reviews. Woohoo. Remember, if you want to leave us a review, it helps us out massively. You can go and do that over on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. Just search the Talking Wednesday podcast. You can find it there. So the first one is on, we're going to do Apple Podcast ones today. It's from Harley Norris, 5-star, obviously. That's the one that gets read. It's not an ego thing. It's what we do. You know it by now. Up the Owls. I always look forward to this podcast. It's becoming part of my weekly routine. I can't rate the 2 lads, Dex and Jake, highly enough. It's always good to get other people's opinions on our beloved club. I love seeing your channels grow because you both deserve so much more recognition. Keep up the great work, lads. Up the Owls. Thank you very much, Harley. That's very nice of you to say. The next one is from Gucci Belt Supreme. What a name. Awesome podcast. Despite our terrible season this year, love listening to 2 proper Wednesdayites talking about Wednesday and football in general. Thank you very much, Gucci Bell. And you know what? That is what it's all about, because there's a lot of things, a lot of people can talk about Wednesday and not be Wednesday through and through. And there is people that talk about Wednesday who are Wednesday through and through. We wanted to bring this podcast, if you are new here, from an unbiased Wednesday perspective. Well, it's not we do have a balanced Wednesday perspective. We're both lifelong Wednesday fans. We care about the club, but we're not afraid to say what we're not afraid to say what we feel on the club. That's the one of the main differences with us. So,
first thing first, how are you? How's your week been?
I've actually had a very productive week, Mr. Punk Chef 41. Yeah, I'm Dexterity Box, joined by Jake Punk Chef 41, if you weren't aware. Yeah, I've nearly finished editing a music video. So I finished my EP. I got it to bounce. It's going to sound terrible on phones because I've done the mix across everything. Absolutely everything. It's past the car
test. Was that you playing with a green screen, if I remember looking up?
Yeah. I can't get it to mix right on phones in mono. And it's doing me nuts. It's because I've gone for such an expansive mix. If I was in a studio, I could probably do it and mix it for phones. But I've just decided I'm not going to. So people who hear it on phones are going to be like, oh, this is a bit unbalanced. I don't care. Buy some headphones or play it in your car, because I'm producing it myself and I'm pumping it out myself. So the EP is going to be done soon. I recorded part of the video this week, did a lot of editing on it. It's basically me in front of a green screen with a lot of editing. You know when they say it's all in the edit?
Yeah.
That's all in the edit. All in the edit. I'm singing into a camera and the rest is in the edit. It's not too. I've not done an awful job on it. You'd be surprised when you see it. So yeah, that'll probably be the first sponsor of the Talking Wednesday podcast, unless somebody wants to get in there a bit before. I should have it out in the next month or so, hopefully. So I'm glad I've been cracking on with it and getting stuff I want to get done. But what about yourself? How's your week been?
Painful. I got guilt tripped into going to my mother's house and tackling Ivy with a bad shoulder, and I shouldn't have done it.
What's Ivy ever done to you? What's she done wrong? No, carry on. No, that's really bad. That's really bad. I've been streaming too long today. Carry on.
But so it really knackered my shoulder up a lot more than it should have done. I rested most of this week. I knew that was coming up, but Friday I was just dead to it, and then I was like, I can stay in bed till about 12:30. I ain't got a game, and then I was like, oh, hang on, they moved the game, didn't they? Oh, had to get up.
Yeah.
Iceland order turns up while game's on. Had to grab a dog, had to grab a child to make sure it doesn't maul the Iceland.
Your child, right? Yeah.
Yeah, my own child. Don't worry. I'm not
good,
stealing children. Or they're not coming free with Iceland orders. Or I will never order from Iceland again. I don't want another one just yet. But yeah, it's been good. And during that Swansea game, I went mental. I turned around and I didn't realise my little one was asleep.
Oh, wonderful.
So it's nice to know she can sleep through anything.
Okay, apologies if there was a cut for the visual watchers there. I was shooting that. We've been streaming in 60 frames, and obviously we shoot this in a lesser frame rate so we can get it all in the same frame rate because Punk's camera is weird and it doesn't operate.
It's a Sony. It does things that Sony does and everyone else doesn't. It's strange. But I am not offending.
I often shoot in cinematic frame rates, in fairness, but your camera only does cinematic frame rates. It's quite frustrating.
To be fair, I'm not dropping another $2,000 on the camera, so it's staying as what it is.
No, that's fair. Okay, so we have Forest to talk about. So Wednesday played Forest this week.
Right.
Just before we do that, actually, if you want to be part of the call-in episode,
yes,
we mentioned it briefly last week. There is now a community post tab where there's an email where you can talk to us directly about the phone-in. So if you want to phone into the Talking Wednesday podcast...
Would it be worth putting the email in this section? Just an edit?
No, because you've got to be a subscriber to
oh, God, yeah, you haven't. Never mind. Shush.
So if you want to call in, subscribe to the channel, go to the community tab and email us. You know, it's free. We just want to make sure that you are part of our community so we know we've not got any arse hats coming through. So subscribe to the channel, go to the community tab, email the email there. You've got a couple of days after you've watched this so we can lock it in because we will be organising it properly. We won't do it on the day, if Wednesday get relegated on Saturday, we won't be doing it on Saturday. Me and Punk are going to do a solo relegation episode or a survival episode, and then the next episode of Talking Wednesday might be out slightly earlier, or it will be on Sunday, but we might record it midweek and do a whole fan-based episode, or part fan-based episode, part rebuild episode. We'll see. But if you want to be involved with that community tab, there's a post there. You might have to go down a little bit, but there's an email in there. Contact us, and we'll do it. But moving on to Nottingham Forest. Sheffield Wednesday played Nottingham Forest. 3 points would be putting pressure on Derby, playing at 12:30. How did it go, Punk?
Big fat 0 points. We got... Well, no, we didn't, but
that's not how a draw works, Punk.
No, I've been on the computer too long. We got 1 point each, but we needed to win it, and we got a little bit lucky just before half time.
Yeah, it's almost as if they started trying not to score after a little while.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumours that Lewis Grabban may have a pre-contract with Derby. So that's why he did it. He didn't want to go back to his new club and stuff. It's a joke, by the way, people. Not a good one. But, yeah, it was a strange game because we were up for it. We could tell we were nervous. Balls that normally go through from Barry Bannon weren't hitting. Reach had a poor one. Harris did try, but the problem with Harris, he doesn't look up and wait to see where his net man is. So we missed a lot of opportunities where someone was open. Like
Harris wasn't good today, unfortunately. At the time on the Forest game, Harris wasn't up to scratch, unfortunately.
But just before half time, we give away a penalty, and yes, it was a penalty. I don't know what Westwood and Reach were playing at.
I don't know what Westwood was doing for the pass back to Reach. I don't know what Reach was doing for the header. Dreadful header, and then Westwood just slices through the man.
But
it's knockout as well.
But it was a very poor penalty.
There was there was a bit of a chat between them, and they were like, "What's going?" I don't know what the chat was about. It'd be interesting to know what was said, but
and then you go into the second half.
Hang on. Let's talk about the penalty a little bit more. You're going into full review mode now. So that penalty, there was a little bit of afters with Knockout and Westwood. I think Westwood was like, "Well, I didn't take him down properly," or he thought Knockout. He was trying to fool the ref a bit. It was a stonewall penalty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He takes him out with his legs.
To be fair, another referee gives that as a red card to Westwood.
Yeah, I think it was fair in the balance of things. And then the penalty goes down to Westwood's left. It's a good save. It's almost like I wish we got a camera on the back of the goal so we go. Is he going? It's going to your left. It's going to your left. Save it.
Well, you actually see it in the as he's going to take the penalty. West will go right and then suddenly changes his mind last minute as he steps up.
It's a great save. It's a great save, and it's kept us in the Championship for another week at least. That save, because the rest of the match was just poor.
It was poor. Nothing really clicked for either side, and
Rhodes coming on changed things for us
did.
a little bit. He was the better. He was probably our best player on the pitch. He came through and made things happening. I was a bit disappointed in Andre Green. Obviously, he's got a lot of potential for us. I think this was a big match for him to start, and he did buckle under the pressure a little bit. It didn't really work.
He did. It needed something. I don't think Windass had the best game today. I thought Windass didn't seem up for it. Whatever happens this week, whatever they got to have a firework on the backside for the next game.
A firework on the backside, yeah.
Because it needs it. Because you saw at the end of it, Bannon's interview was very telling. His eyes said it all before he said it. He's very disappointed. And
he thought we were down. And to be honest, I'm surprised we're not. I'm sitting here. Sheffield Wednesday is still in the Championship as the time of recording. Just.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, I did a double stream on the Saturday, Forest and then Derby. Derby go 1-0 up in that. I'm ready for relegation, right? I've been ready for relegation for a little while. Swansea get an equal.
I think we've been ready for relegation since that Luton game.
Yeah, it's been all downhill. So it's a case of Swansea get the equaliser, and then I go, oh well, we're still relegated, but that's just save Rotherham for a little while if they can turn it on. And then Swansea shortly after that go 2-1 up, and I'm like, hang on. Right? It was nice actually watching a football team that could play football.
Yes, it was.
By the way.
It was also nice not like by T-nail too much going, well, either way, whatever happened, we're either safe for a week or we're down.
It was mental, but the issue is we had Rotherham got a late equaliser. About 83 minutes, they scored an equaliser against Blackburn. They were losing, right? Which would actually put Rotherham in real trouble if they'd have lost, because then they'd need a result out of the next two. Now, they just need one result out of the next two to relegate us. Yeah. That's the issue. They've got 2 games left. We've got 1 game left.
Their goal difference is very good.
Exactly. So even if we beat Derby and we're on the same points, say they win 1 and we beat Derby by 1-2-0, right? We'll both be on 43 points, but Rotherham's goal difference is superior. Yeah. They will finish us on level points. And
the annoying thing, Rotherham will finish us with George Hurst in their squad who's done nothing all season.
Yeah, they'll also, I don't really care about him, but they'll also, that sort of thing, like, it's a case of, like, I don't really even think about all of that. It was an interesting one. I'd have him on the podcast if we wanted to have a chat about what actually went down there, but I don't think we get anything out of him. No. It's one of those where I think...
It's one where we're both looking at each other going, how the hell are we still safe?
Yeah.
And in this.
But Rotherham could send both Derby. It's more likely that Rotherham are going to send both Wednesday and Derby down now, rather than one of us stay up.
And the thing is, if that happened to Derby are in a lot worse trouble on their rebuild than we would be.
If you're watching, because Derby are in financial trouble worse than we were, because they could be at the point of admin, Derby.
Yeah.
Did you see? I don't know if you saw this. I got sent it via Messenger. Eric Alonso, after the Derby were 1-0 up, tweeted and went, "Yes, goal, let's go Rams!" And then like loads of work, because I'm not on Twitter this weekend because of the social media blackout. Support it, but I got it sent me via Messenger, and Wednesday fans apparently underneath while they were underneath it, and they went. At the end of it, they were like, "How does it look now, you Spanish snake?" and stuff like that. And it was like, I was like, "Oh, lads." But
that being said, we do like calling someone a snake at Wednesday, don't we?
Yeah, we do. But yeah, eyes on Rotherham's Tuesday match. If Rotherham win that, Wednesday relegated. If Rotherham beat Cardiff, Wednesday relegated. If they draw the next 2 and Wednesday beat Derby, it's on. It's on. We're up. We stay up.
Don't rule Luton out, because Luton will want that top 10 finish.
Yeah, Luton Town, if I've ever give you any praise, for the love of God, win this match.
Yeah. And also, we're then relying on another Welsh team to help us. So, Wales...
Cardiff won 4-1 today, by the way.
Did they? Oh, Jesus. So that could be good for next week.
So if Cardiff kick that on at Rotherham, that'd be decent. But we've got to... The thing is, I could see Rotherham getting beat twice. And we lose to Derby.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see it all happening. But yeah.
But you can also see Rotherham lose twice and us nick it and by some jammy goal.
We're still in it.
Yeah.
That's all we can say. We're still in it. So next week, next Saturday, Dexterity Box channel, Derby versus Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah.
Same time as this week.
I mean, unless I probably still do it, but the only chance is if Rotherham win on Tuesday, I might not. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. 'Cause if Rotherham win, we're down. Unless Cardiff beat them 7-0.
Well, this is the stupid thing. You don't know. Until Saturday we don't know what we are. Because Rotherham have got to. They only need a point. That's not
true. Until Tuesday comes.
Until Tuesday comes, sorry. But I meant Saturday for us in terms of our game.
Yeah, but even that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Are Rotherham going to lose 5-0 on the last day, and are we going to win 5-0? Probably not, because I think the goal difference. Well, it's not that bad. I think it's a 5-goal difference. I think they're minus 17 or 16, and we're minus 21 or something like that. So it's a case of it'd be batterings on either side. We'd need to batter Derby, and they'd need to be battered by Cardiff.
So Rotherham are minus 16, we're minus 21, and Derby are minus 22.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why it's all on. If Rotherham lose,
but he's looking at that. He's looking at that table. It's 40 point, 40 point, 40 point, 43.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Rotherham lose the next two, and we beat Derby. We stay up. That's what you got. That's the way you got to look at it.
Yeah.
Rotherham lose the next two, or draw the next two. We beat Derby. We're up.
Yeah.
Eyes on that Tuesday game. Okay, we'll be back on social media by then. If you want to chat to us about it, Dexterity Box Twitter, PunkChef41 Twitter.
Yep.
Let's talk about it. Hopefully there'll be a bit of change in the abuse as well, because it's horrific. So, moving on to the news. Okay, so we've done the recent matches. There's only been one. We have got it's not that. It's so the 72 are quoting Examiner Live, right? Talking about, but it's genuinely been a thing that the club have been talking anyway. Darren Moore's talking about his recruitment for next season. So there was a little bit of controversy about whether Darren Moore was going to be staying on next season. Some fans were saying what's going on with his contract, all of that. It looks like he's already started to plan for transfers for either scenario. It's looking like he's even planning for League One in terms of recruitment. So what do you think that means for the club?
I think it's good to see that we're already starting to think that way, even though we hold to contract talks with a lot of players, and I understand that because they don't want to put something to a player who's could be on high earners if we don't know what league we're going to be in. That makes sense. But the fact that Moore been given that kind of thing to go, right, this is what we're going to do. But I'll talk about one of the ones, if it's still in here later, about Pelopessi, if it's there.
No, I've removed it.
Right.
We've talked about Pelopessi enough. Talk about
I'll
it
just say slightly. Moore sounds like he wants to keep Pelopessi, and Chansiri doesn't. So it would be interesting. But the fact that we're already on that kind of thinking,
and this is the thing,
good.
Right? This is going to tear the fan base, and I'm going to get some stick for this. A lot of people that say Pelopessi's crap slate Chansiri, right, and say Chansiri is bad for the club. So do you agree with Darren Moore that Pelopessi's a good player now, or do you agree with Chansiri, the man that you despise so much, that Pelopessi should be off? Because for me,
this has just turned into a good breakout.
Yeah, Pelopessi should definitely get another deal. What do you think? Like today, yes, I understand. I've got. We were talking in the chat. He can become a bit of a passenger in certain games, but that's only when the whole team's underperforming.
Yeah.
Right. For me, Diggs passes out. He's a good break-up midfielder. He's a good player.
He could have gone at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And he didn't. And I think he didn't. I think he signed on reduced terms then. So if he's happy to be here, I'm happy to have him here, kind of thing. If he wants to play football and he knows he'll get first team, and Pelopessi possibly in a League One place could be vital because of how crunching he can go in for tackle.
Do we know? Do we know allegedly why Chansiri wants Pelopessi out?
It's more. Apparently, I think it's a cost thing, but I think he wants even cheaper players. If that makes sense.
I don't feel like that'd be the case though, because surely, unless Pelopessi's actually on a big chunk, but what? Then again, the mismanagement sometimes. Have we put Pelopessi on a chunk?
Yeah.
You know, is he on something that's?
And you got to remember, we've also got Luongo to come back next season as well.
Yeah,
who would be in that position.
But it's surely if your new manager that you've just hired is going
says I want him, you back him, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't want to start.
What's the point?
You don't want to start it straight away with going, well,
Because
I don't want him.
it's also not like Moore's going, I want this player, we've got to sign this player, pay a transfer fee for him and do all of that. It's a case of, yes, we might just have to stump up the wages, but if Moore's saying, I want this player in my squad, then surely you keep him.
Yeah, exactly. It's that weird mismanagement. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We've heard all season.
Yeah.
So, ideally, with the whole Dan Moore, if he started to already plan for whatever season, you've got to take it as a positive, because it's him going, right, I don't want to have it last game of the season, then I'm having to plan for League One. I want to have it that I start now. And possibly with him having his illness, he's been able to look at other players and had that time to look at who he wants a bit more, because he's not in the day-to-day running at the club itself, because he can't actually physically go out and, train with the lad.
Mm-hmm.
He can only sit on the sofa. And
do you want Pelopessi to stay on?
Yes.
Why? What do you see in him? Because we know this, we've talked about this behind the scenes, but I know
for me, I see a player that's very good at breaking up the play. He got a good pass in him, and that partnership that he got with Bannon is really starting to become something quite strong. And I think in League One, you look at how he built very well for League One. And he's a good squad player. Like, whenever we needed him to step up this season, even though it's been the worst season he stepped up.
He speaks well as well.
And he's not gone missing too much. Like, on times where we've had Liam Shaw, and Liam Shaw's been a bit rash because he's young, but then you put Pelopessi in that same kind of situation, he cools it down a bit.
Yeah.
But at the start of the season, we were all saying how Longo was the missing link, and then we lose him for half the season.
So, he was genuinely a missing link. The link was missing because he's been on the injury bloody room. I think the one thing that's different, and what do you think I'm going to say here? The one thing that's changed about Pelopessi this season for me.
Go on.
He goes forward more.
Mm.
So instead of just being that passenger in the middle, because I have seen that sometimes, there's been times where I've watched him and I've got it. You might as well not be on the pitch in the past. And that's why I understand, right, why Wednesday fans have got that pre-sort of determined position on what Joey Pelopessi is. But this season...
But do you think that's under more than anything?
I don't.
Or do you think that's just from start of the season with Monk?
I think Pelopessi this season's grown into a championship player that goes forward. He's not just that... He breaks up the play now, but he also... The whole play style, when we've been allowed to do it, especially under Moore, he brings the ball forward. He doesn't just take it and lay it off straight away. He will now look for an opening, and if he can move forward with it before he lays it off, he does it. He's brought that attacking side to him. He's taken the ball-winning midfielder role and made it more box-to-box. So when you've got Bannon next to him, if Pelopessi gets stuck, he can get to Bannon next to him with flair and move it on. For me, I think keeping that central midfield partnership of Bannon and Pelopessi could be, especially if we go down, could be a key of build-up play. Because you need that familiarity there. And it took Joey Pelopessi a while to get it, which is why he gets a lot of stick, right? Because it took him so long to adapt to the English game. But now he's got that familiarity with the team, with the players, with the English style of the game. The League One's more scrappy, don't get me wrong. He's a good on-the-ball midfielder. And I think for the money, free, right? Okay, we've got to pay him a bit more in wages or maybe keep him on the same sort of contract. You can't look... Who else would you get for the same sort of value? You wouldn't.
And also the other thing, I think the other reason why some people don't like him, he's part of the Josh Lukai legacy, because he was a player that Josh Lukai brought in. So I wonder if there's some of that at it.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being a thing. I could see it. I didn't like Joss. I thought he was one of the worst. It's probably the worst mistake we've made in a long time. Pulis was a right idea on paper, but an awful idea on practice, whereas Joss was just like a what. But we trusted... That's the thing, we trusted Chansiri with Joss because we didn't know about Carlos before he came in, and Carlos was great.
We thought with he'd done another pick out of someone who no one's heard of, but he'll do well.
Yeah. I'd give Pelopessi another year as long as it's not too ludicrous. I think he's got a good partnership there. And we're going to put our tin hat warning, duck down, because we're probably going to get stick from this. But think about it. If you are on the side, if you are the ones that slated Chansiri and you want Pelopessi to go, you're currently signing with Chansiri. So look at it from that perspective right now. I'm going to back the manager, who I have seen more attacking intent from, and I'm more happy to see that. I don't think we should keep too many of the out-of-contract players. I've got to say that.
Are there any more puns that you could put in there for more?
No. But I've got. I don't think we should keep too many of the out of contract players on. Don't get me wrong, but Pelopessi is one of them. Moving on to players that are in contract that might be off. The Football Fancast has been talking. It's Howson again. Dom Howson, fair play to the man. He gets everybody bloody quotes him. So when we do our research, everything seems to lead back to the man. He's got such such good access with the squad. But I think this is more speculation as well. But there has been heard reports about the club will have a job on their hands, quote, in keeping the attacking midfielder Josh Windass at Hillsborough, because with West Brom have been interested in him in January. There's a lot of interest in Windass.
Middlesbrough, Cardiff. I think there's Stoke.
Yeah, one of our community also said to me that his dad said he's not sticking around. I thought that was about Wigan, but I don't know if he said something for the latter.
I think he said that about Hull. People were asking him if he's going to Hull, and he said no, he's not.
Right.
Okay. It was a Hull link, not a Wigan link. So it could Hull gone up, people's automatically gone, well, is he going to Hull because his dad was there?
Yeah, well, I think... Well, Josh Windass has been one of those players that he was frustrating earlier in the season with his selfish nature in terms of strikers. But let's be honest, I'm not calling Josh Windass a selfish person there. I'm saying that he's a striker and they're naturally quite selfish. They've got that attitude to them. They have to be that because it gets their clinical nature. However, Josh Windass hasn't been that clinical this season. So when Moore came in, he switched him around and he was like, no, you've got to be a little bit more selfless. We need you to link up the play. We need you to get your assists in there. And since then, for me, Josh Windass has been one player we need to keep hold of. What do you think about all of this?
I think Josh Windass is a player we definitely need to keep hold of. As you've seen, he's even joked at himself on Twitter at times, going...
He doesn't take himself too seriously until he's on the pitch, which I respect.
I mean, it cat 22 here because... Yeah, people are looking at Windass, but Windass, if we go down, will be then on 2 relegation on his TV kind of thing. And clubs do look at that.
Well, he was on loan with us last season. Well, when Wigan got relegated.
Yeah, but he was technically still part of it because he started the season with them.
Yeah, but if they're doing the research, Punk, they should be able to do properly research. I get what you're saying, but they should be able to do their proper research into it.
And the only reason he didn't work at Wigan is because he fell out with Paul Cook. So, the bonus is if he does go, we'll get some money for him. But we know
he's not going to Ipswich. By the way, it's been linked all the time that he's going to go back to Paul Cook. I'm sorry, the people that have been saying that, it's such lazy journalism.
He even said it on Twitter. That was the reason he left.
Yeah, he's not going. Ipswich also aren't interested. Paul Cook doesn't want to have him back. No. It's not happening, okay?
Ipswich will more likely get Jordan Rhodes on a free than they'll get Windass.
There were some articles that were linking him with Paul Cook and Ipswich, but there's also been counter arguments to that, and they're a lot more credible in my eyes than what I've seen. So he's not going to Ipswich.
The nice thing is we've made some money out of him.
Yeah, if he's off, he'll make. But I think he is one of the players that you want to keep in your team because, in my opinion, if we get relegated. Get rid of everyone else. Rhodes is off. It's probably going to cost us too much money. Yeah. I really wish it worked for Jordan Rhodes at Sheffield Wednesday. It's gutting that it didn't. Here's the thing, though. If the way I'm sitting on it at the minute, if Jordan Rhodes is going down to League One with us, he's going to cost us too much money.
Yeah.
If Jordan Rhodes stays in the Championship, I don't think he can cut it for us anymore. No. So if we stay in the Championship, so either way, I think it's the end for Jordan Rhodes now.
But the Jordan Rhodes thing is interesting because you look at the clubs that are looking at him. It's like Cardiff, that Championship.
Why do Cardiff and Borough want all of our players?
And Stoke.
I didn't know about Stoke. Stoke got him last season.
Well, Stoke are looking at Windass too. So it's Windass is one of those ones. This season, he really come on as a player and he changed the game a little bit. And I'd like to see more of that. What you see on social media, very close with Barry Bannon. Mm-hmm. They do seem to get on quite well. And he does seem like he's one of the jokey kind of people in the dressing room. Kind of thing. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. And we know what Chansiri is like to holding the ground and going, I'm not selling you for this much. So it would have to be a good price.
Hopefully his attitude would be decent as well with that. Like, I don't want to play in League One, and he could get over his ego and he wouldn't cause too much trouble. Thing is, I think Who else would you have up front? Right, you've got Callum Patterson, but he's not really a striker for me. Maybe you get a little bit more play in League One. Callum Patterson and Windass, though, they're only... Who else is our attacking options? Take out the wingers, take out Green and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Get rid of Rhodes, build from that. Maybe bring in Jeffcott if you're lucky enough.
Last season, we had 6 strikers on the books.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, we went after the lad who went to Birmingham, frankly not done much. That didn't come off. Every time we seemed to got linked with a striker, they went somewhere else. And it's either the point deduction or it was a location thing for me, with what you look at. And then you've got to try, we'll be able to convince a player to come to Wednesday. That's the bonus.
It's to get him to perform as well.
Yes.
Yeah. It's keep Windass and put Jeffcott next to him.
Yeah, like that.
Or keep Windass, bring Atinuiu back, have Windass running off Atinuiu. League One.
Oh, just can you imagine League One? That'd be superb.
6'6", he holds up the play, does the physical nature, slips in Josh Windass, who's really pacey, by the way, Punk, and runs past him and can bury it. I'd love that.
To be fair, are you trying to get the band back together? Are you saying we should go get Kieran Lee from Bolton?
No, unfortunately. We probably shouldn't have let him go, in fairness, but he has been in the injury room for Bolton as well, so
yeah,
it's been one of them. But yeah, I think Windass we should definitely try and keep hold of. But I'm sure that if we get relegated, everybody will get rid of them all and start again because we've got a blank checkbook in League One, even though we're in a lot of debt. Keep your heads on, lads. I know the emotion rules a lot of times.
We need to balance the books, whatever league we're in this season, do it properly.
Exactly, and whatever leagues we're in next season could be attracting the likes of Jordan Jones. So this is from One Borough, as in Middlesbrough. Sunderland, quote, Sunderland are likely to confirm Jordan Jones on a permanent signing who has been at the Stadium Light since January. It remains to be seen where Jones will end up playing next season, as Sheffield Wednesday and Preston have also been linked with a 26-year-old. Right. I took this because we'd found articles that had said that Jordan Jones was likely to come to Wednesday. Yeah. However, this is the more prominent one that's confirming that Sunderland are more likely to keep him at Sunderland because Rangers have said he's free to go in the summer. He's current Rangers player on loan. How would you feel about Jordan Jones at Wednesday? Because there is a chance that we could go in for him. Because the thing is, if Sunderland get promoted, that's going to be difficult if they want Jordan Jones, which is why I brought this up here.
He's a good player. I've seen bits of him this season, and he's what we.
I always sign him on FIFA, so it'd be interesting.
It's one of these strange ways, the player that we need, but Sunderland have got the money now. It doesn't matter what league they're in.
Yeah,
they can offer it. Whatever happens, and it goes down to how settled the player been while he's been there. It's all the background stuff, and I like to see us go for it, but realistically, now you see where that one a permanent sign for him if he's already been there sounds more likely, but it all depends what they're going to put in front of him in wages. But the thing is, they have the added option that they do have a bit of money now. And they can be a bit smarter. But Sunderland don't want to do what they do last time.
Still, for me, like a promoted Sunderland is more attractive than a relegated Wednesday.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because Sunderland is still a massive club. That's the issue. So we brought it in. You obviously brought in the articles that said he was linked to Wednesday. I did a bit more digging. And it looks like Sunderland is still interested. And if that is the case, it's more likely that Jordan Jones signs at Sunderland and comes to Wednesday, but Preston and Wednesday fighting it out for him. Wednesday are the third on that list for me. Sorry, I love Wednesday, and I'd obviously go to Wednesday, but if Preston were in for me and Sunderland were in for me, when the current Wednesday team were in for me...
Well, I put it this way, if Wednesday and Sunderland are still in League One, he's going to Preston.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he got a real love for being in Sunderland and stuff.
Well, look at we sometimes sign players after loan spells. Loan spells can do the world of wonders. I think if Michael Hector could have signed for us, he'd have signed for us.
Yeah.
I think if Jacob Murphy, before he got the time at Newcastle, if he could have signed for us, he'd have signed for us. Yeah. If they get him in that bubble, and they probably will because he's out of contract, I reckon Jordan Jones is going to Sunderland. But we'll see what happens. Moving on to players that should be staying here. For the love of God, I hope they're staying here. Barry Bannon hasn't got a release clause in his contract. We've been talking about this for quite a while. Yep. So, this is from the Yorkshire Post. Wednesday's championship fates are on a knife edge. blah, 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 Nottingham Forest, all that. We're past all that now. I don't even know why I've left the article in here, but Bannon said, this is the important bit, and quote, I have signed a 2-year deal, and I signed that when we were in the bottom 3. So let's see what happens. That will be down to the chairman and the people to decide at the club if the worst does happen. So basically, we don't have to sell him.
No.
If we don't want to.
He's also turned around and said in interviews what he did for the club, like, I wouldn't have signed the contract if I didn't want to be here.
He's also said he wants to see out the contract no matter what happens. Yeah. That's the big bit.
And he kind of went, if we're in League One, I'm helping us to get out of League One. If we're in the Championship, I'm helping us to push for the Premiership. This is a player who didn't have any club looking at him. And we took the chance and took the gamble. And he's repaying it. And we can say all what we like, what we've had this season with loyalty, but Bannon is showing it there. And
could he go?
Signing that contract also means we'll get money for him.
Yeah, and could we get money for him? Because what was Neil Warnock doing? What is it with Borough?
Did you see what it's? Did you see that?
Yeah,
I did. Did you see what it said?
So they were at the end of the match against Borough versus Wednesday, where we got battered. There was a bit of conversation going on between Neil Warnock and Barry Bannon, who've got history. Now, a lot of people thought that Warnock was tapping him up to come to Borough. Now, what has been said, Barry Bannon's come out and said that he was basically saying that he played well, he's become a good player. He was apologising about his time at Palace with him. So Barry Bannon looks back on his time with Palace as very mixed. He wasn't and Warnock was a big part of that. And the apology there, he said it meant a lot to him that he got an apology from Warnock. Now, do you think that's all it was, or do you think he was trying to get him friendly with him to sign him next season?
I actually think it was Warnock going, look, I should have took a bit more chance because you are a player. And I think there's a lot of managers out there that see who had Bannon on their books and like, what the hell were we thinking? Like, if Blackpool could have kept him on loan, you never know where Blackpool could be now. It's that kind of thing where I don't think he would have done it. Like tactic. He might have turned and said, oh, well, come and as a joking thing. But I think it would say, I believe what Bannon said, and I kind of see that in Neil Warnock's nature. We had it last week with what we said about him. He does seem that kind of person. He'll hold his hands up and say, you know what, I was in the wrong.
I must say, though, it would be very Warnock to poach our best player.
Yes. But if they've got to do that, they pulled our pants down with Jordan Rhodes. Time to do the same to Middlesbrough. You want our best player? This is how much you're paying.
Yeah, there's reported rumours going about people think, well, you know what I've seen what's mental? Some Wednesday fans saying, oh, $1.5 million and he can go. Are you serious?
What?
Are you serious? I don't care if he's, what is he, 32, 33?
31.
31? I thought he was 32. I don't care. I don't care, right? If he's in his 30s and he's coming towards the end of his career in terms of, playing days at this level.
Someone even turned around and said to me, Sheffield United might go for him.
That made me feel That made me feel a little bit sick, actually, because I was like, there is a chance.
Yeah.
Because this is what I thought, right? Sheffield United could go in for some of our out-of-contract players, or they could go in for the Bannons.
They've done it before.
Yeah, they love it. We don't do it to them. Have you noticed that? But they love to take our castaways, and even worse, they won't be our castaways this time, because they'll take the players that we want just because they don't have to move.
Yeah.
Because they're already here.
And that's a big one for Bannon, considering he only relocated this season.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't think
he would.
Bannon would fear for his safety, right? If he lived in Sheffield.
I don't think he would. And he's said stuff in the past that wouldn't go down well.
So did Gary Medine, though, but then he became their best mate.
Oh,
didn't he?
You poor man! I just seen what Barry Bannon's full name is. Barry Ryan Bannon. Oh, you poor sod.
There's a lot of Anns in there, isn't there?
Yeah,
a lot of an Ann man. But no,
he'd be right back.
I think. Oh my God, he is. So I think in terms of the out of contract players, we could see them going to local clubs that stay up, which would be an issue. I reckon. If anything, I reckon the Piggies could be after Reach. He'd be a good free signing for them. Think players like that. But
it all depends on what's going on at the lane, because he don't seem good at the lane at the minute, so they might not go that way. So
in terms of Warnock tapping up Bannon, though, do you think that he could buy him?
Yeah, but Chansiri would pull their pants down, because he'd go, well, you sold me Jordan Rose and look at him now. He's like, where's my warranty?
He is a man of principle. He is a man of principle, Chansiri, so it would be interesting to see what happened. It would be a very careful thing to say, though. Be careful, though, if you are a current Wednesday player and you decide to go to like a Sheffield United. There is the case of like, there is a bit of drama around all of that in the city, especially if you live in the city. Don't go to Meadowhall. Don't go out in the city. Yeah. You'll get a bit of
You'll get a bit of a stick for it, yeah.
Yeah. But I think I don't think he was tapping him up. I think Bannon's staying, and I think he should stay, because I'm not one of those people that thinks that he's done. I think that he offers most, and I think he's one of the most passionate players we've got at the club.
And I know people turn around and say this. If Barry Bannon didn't want to say, why would he sign a 2-year deal? Yes, it could be that he wants to get some money for the club, but...
Well, we all thought he signed it because he had a relegation release clause. That's what people were throwing at him. He's got a relegation clause, so it doesn't matter.
And it was a very serious, clear no, and you could tell he was a bit peed with the question being questioned to him. He wasn't happy with it. The answer that they got back was a bit sharp, of going, no. As in to go, why would I?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's not the best question to get presented to you anyway. Oh. But yeah, I hope Barry Bannon stays.
Yep, definitely.
Now this next one, we're gonna. So Carlton Palmer's come out against Chansiri, another one of the older ones. He spoke to the Football Fancast.
I think this is his
never quoted these before, by the way. We've quoted about 3 times today. Carlton Palmer, he's talked in an exclusive interview that it's the manager selection and the rotation of managers that's killed the club this season. Now, we've still got a chance of staying up, but he basically thinks that this manager thing is going to be what has secured our doom. Do you think it's the chopping and changing of managers and not the points deduction that's done it?
A little. Well, if we don't have the point deduction, Gary Monk's probably still here, and we still probably have the players.
I don't know, though, because that started to decline 6 months before we got a points deduction, remember?
But
Christmas.
True, yeah. Now he said that, probably would have had the manager change then. And yes, it is a bit of an issue when you don't have your had the same manager each time. Like, if you look at Wednesday, we technically had 6 managers this season.
Yeah.
And
not really, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, taking charge of the club then.
In the dugout, yeah.
So Gary Monk, Lee Bullen, Lee Bullen, Pulis, Tomo, Moore, Smith. I ain't missed anyone out there. It's been a strange one, and it's like, I understand that, but a lot of the people who came in, I think the Pulis decision wasn't well thought out. He just went for the person who got to. Everyone was telling him, he's the person to get you out of this situation. Get him. He's your go-to man. I'd love to know who else was on that interview list. Kind of thing. If it was
Sam Allardyce, Pulis, Pardew.
Pardew, yeah. And you got to remember, at that point, when we were looking at a manager, Darren Moore was getting looked at for the Barnsley job.
Yeah. I think Darren Moore's one of the best appointments we've had, and I don't think it's the chopping and changing. I think it's just...
He's not a good look on injuries.
It's just been
a poor season.
Everything has gone against the club this season, so I don't even really want to go into that one too much. Tom Lee's update. So Tom Smith's been... Tom Smith?
Jamie Smith?
Jamie Smith has been chatting. The Yorkshire Live are quoting Smith here. Quote, Tom Lees won't be available. We obviously know this.
Yeah.
He went off injured against Middlesbrough, but fortunately there's no fractures or breaks, which is good for him. It's ligament damage, not so good for him.
Though.
Yeah, it is. It is, because if ligaments are damaged, they're not so easy to sort out. I'm not sure what it means for long term. We're gutted for him. So a lot of fans were saying, well, that's the last we've seen. We said it might be the last we've seen of Tom Lees, but the difference is he's out of contract here, and your captain wants him to stay.
Yeah.
And this is what's come out this week. So Football League World quoted Bannon as saying, he's going to be a massive miss in these 2 games because his leadership qualities and how he's performed this season. It's a big miss for us. Hopefully he can get the news that he wants. He's not out for too long and he can get back to fitness. We don't know what's happening with Tom's contract, but personally, I'd love him to stay here and help us next season. Now that, end quote, that is the difference for me. That is what's changed it a little bit, because I thought he's gone. He's never playing for us again. But if your captain wants him to stay, do you keep your captain happy? What do you think?
Well, we just spoke about Barry Bannon wanting to stay, kind of thing. And Tom Lees is a weird one, because the game where he come in and he's absolutely had a great game, he says stuff. But with Tom Lees, he needs to have another person at the side of him. So if you are keeping Tom Lees, make sure you've got that player ready to be at the side of him, even if it is Iorfa when he's back, kind of thing, because they did work well. But Tom Lee needs someone outside it. He can't be the one to command the defense. He's not to have someone not babysitting him just to reassure him, if that makes sense. I hope for us as a club, if he doesn't get like a new deal and he is told, I hope we turn around and say, look, we're not going to give you a new deal, but you can use our
facilities.
To get up to your thing, because that's what you do, because he's been here for a while. I don't want it to go, right, you're done, you've got to go.
Well, there's a duty of care to players as well. I think some clubs have got a specific duty of care that they get clubs back to players back to fitness. I think Tom Lees will be sorted. In terms of the contract, it's weird. If it means keeping Barry Bannon happy, I'd sign him on a year.
Yeah.
But I don't want him on a year. There's been too Calamity Jane for me this season.
It's time for him to move on for me, for him and the club.
Yeah.
He'd been here since
I really like Tom Lees. I'd love to speak to him someday. He was part of a really good side. I just feel like it's not clicked this season, and we need a reshape in a lot of things. And when Iorfa's back, I'd like to see a bit more of Iorfa and Dunkley, and then Burn is the other option there.
Remember, Dunkley's contract was only a year, so he's out of contract.
Was it?
Yeah. I think he only signed a year contract.
I thought he did 2 years, but
hang on, I will check.
It's a case of I'd rather see that going forward than Tom Lees has been a great servant to the club. And I'm really happy with the history we've got there. I just feel like the turmoil the club's in, it needs to freshen up, and that's nothing against Tom Lees at all.
Yeah, you're right. It is a 2 year. I don't think it was a year. I think it was a year.
Because you do this all the time. Because you do this all the time with contracts.
Leave me alone.
You do though.
I heard what you said about me in your stream, you said.
What did I say? I forgot. I've said a lot today.
About me pronouncing stuff and everything.
Well, that's
Google Translate.
That's common knowledge. That your pronunciation is common knowledge, my friend. Okay, so yeah,
very true.
I think it's the end of the road for Tom Lees at Wednesday, but it'd be interesting to see how that one develops. Just a quick one on Darren Moore. He's thanked us all for the support. Not us specifically. We obviously did support him as well, but he's trying to be on the mend. He's starting to feel a bit better, but he's got a bit of a way to go. There's rumours about him coming back to the squad before the end of the season. Just take your time, mate. Look after yourself.
At the end of the day, don't be in the dugout for the game next week.
Yeah. All our best to Darren Moore there. Get yourself fighting fit. Get back for the next season if you can healthily. Just look after yourself. That's what's important.
I think what I liked was how he spoke very highly of our club doctor being like, no, you're going, and not giving him the option.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Because I think some places he might have got the option. The club doctor said, no, I'm not risking you. Go. Bye. Go get better.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I'm just hopeful that he gets better. And we've got to be stern with people like that. It's a case of like in Spurs and stuff. The Spurs medical team need to tell. It's really hard to tell someone like Harry Kane that he's not fit, but tell him he's not fit and rest him, especially for the Euros. For Christ's sake, he shouldn't have played that final. He should be rested because we need him for the Euros, please. So this is it. We're going to go on about wasted loans now, and that's been the story of Wednesday's season. So from the Examiner Live, forgotten man Jack Marriott has played his final match for Sheffield Wednesday, not playing for Forest. He still has a little bit of tendinitis. Yeah, I've never read that before. In his knee, I thought it was nitis, but it reads really weird. In his knee, he's here. You've just corrected me on pronunciation. That's not he is still here receiving treatment. And obviously, Marriott, we play Derby County on the last day of the season. He can't play against his parent club. what I wanted to ask here is if we wasted our loans this season, Izzy Brown,
I'd
Aidan
rather
Flint,
have sent
Marriott.
Marriott back and kept Flint. Because Flint in that Cardiff back four have been immense.
Yeah.
And maybe send Izzy Brown back and just got someone in to help us in midfield, or a striker on loan who wants a bit of game time just to show his club that he can do it.
I have to hold my hands up, right? And I admit when I'm wrong. And, well, to be honest, I've not been able to see if I'm fully wrong. But I said I wanted to see more out of Izzy Brown. He had a couple of more appearances and he didn't perform.
No.
But he still wasn't given the consistency I'd have liked to have seen him given from the start. But my actual opinion on this now is, why was he here in the first place? Why was he brought in if we weren't going to play him? What's going on? Luton Town fans have said that he's got an attitude. You know, Huddersfield Town fans couldn't speak so highly of him because he came and he helped get him promoted.
Yeah. I bet the answer.
What are you doing? He's just got his phone out on a podcast.
No.
What are you doing?
No, if my little and my missus was just asking me, do I know where the teddy is? And I took a no.
Right, okay, fair enough. We're keeping that in just so you know how unprofessional he is, but it's family reasons, so it's fine. Fair enough. I thought you'd pulled up like a news report. But yeah, Aidan Flint should have been was the only loan that had any promise, and we sent him back.
I understand at the time why we sent Flint back, because he was injured.
But we didn't send Marriott back.
Yes. Why did Marriott stay and Flint?
With Dunkley and Orfer injured, it doesn't make any sense.
Yes. I don't get it, because we're normally quite good at getting loans in and judging them. We've done quite well in the last couple of seasons. And you keep Flint, you look for a young kid, I'm using an example here, Arsenal, who's under 23, he wants to show Arteta he wants to be in the squad for next season as a striker, you put him in. You know what I mean? You get that kind of loan in and we might have something different. It's weird. I don't understand what's happened with that part of the game.
I just think our loans have been awful.
I'd love to know how much we've given Derby for Marriott for the season.
What, if there's a loan fee or if just paid his wages?
Yeah. Because that'd be even more sickening if we both go down.
Yeah. It's just, we don't usually waste loans. Wednesday,
we're normally very good.
This is the first season where we've screwed up loans.
Normally.
Hector, Murphy, you know, we've always had Sasso, yeah. Every season we seem to have had a good player in on loan. This season was probably Aidan Flint.
And then we'd also done that whole thing. We've had them. We either get a player who's really good on loan and we make them world beaters, and then we can never get them again.
Yeah.
The only one time where that was actually worked out to was Antonio.
Yeah.
But
we still sold him for too little.
Yeah, that was.
We got like 2.3 million for him back in the day.
Yeah, but did you hear that was Stuart Gray saying, "I don't want you in my squad," and he just let him go? That was a great decision.
Stuart.
Yeah.
As such, man.
Yeah. But yeah, our loans have been poor this season.
No, they have. So if our loans have been poor, next season, who should we be building the squad around? We've talked a little bit about Windass or anything. Is there any youth prospects you want to see develop into there? I've put Fizz down there. I've put, there's breakthroughs of Ryan Galvin, Declan Thompson. Any of them you'd like to see play a part?
There's Brennan, who was on the bench today. I'd like to see a bit more of Alex Hunt, give him some game time, give him a new contract, actually give him, if he's going to be part of this.
Give him some whey protein, for Christ's sake.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Bulk up. You're in these physical leagues, mate. It's fine if you're in the Premier League, but even Foden, like, he looks quite slim, but he's got power. If you watched him in the Champions League, the other match where he played against PSG and he ran through, he's got power and balance. Hunt just looks a little bit too lightweight for me at the minute. He needs to get some power on him.
He got the technical skill.
Definitely. He's got so much potential. If
he can build up, then we've got a chance to see a thing. There's a lot that kind of thing. I personally would have loved to seen Deli Batcher get on in the Nottingham Forest game. I think him in the middle would have made a big difference.
Yeah.
Just even to give him like 20, 30 minutes to just be on and think. Because he's going for fun in the under 20s at the minute.
Yeah. Just Deli Basher. That's the thing. I saw somebody reply to that going, "Oh, he's found his level." And I was just like, are you for real? Does everybody expect us just to have like world-class players coming through these under-21s? Deli Basharu, what is it with some of our fan base that just won't get behind players?
There's the immediate to slag them off straight away.
It's the fans that don't watch the matches or don't understand progression. Stop it. Right. You might as well not support... This is really harsh, but you might as well not support the club if you aren't going to get involved in the current Sheffield Wednesday, right? Support the club from afar, but don't just come in with that negativity if you don't have a clue what you're talking about, right? Because when Deli Basharu's played, he's looked promising, right? And I want to see more of him. And it just gets on my nerves because, yes, we're in the crap. We report on it every week. We talk about it. I stream it. I'm live reacting to the crap every single week, punk, right?
Yep.
And then we talk about it after the matches. Sometimes we're really down about it. Sometimes we try and pick it up. But then you've got people that are just negative for negative's sake. Yeah. And I'm like, if that's your coping mechanism, where's the criticism? Where's the constructive criticism? Because then it gets lost in this sea of negativity. And you just end up talking, you just end up being one of those people
you get bitter.
That just slags everyone off.
And you're bitter about it. It's like, when you see some of the things that when the fans sometimes tweet, they'll see one great thing, I did something, but every single negative is picked apart every time, kind of thing. And it's like, yes, well done, you're picking it apart, but could you do better? What?
Well, it's not even if could you do better. It's a case of like, how much football do you watch, right? And we still sometimes get it. You don't know anything about football. I watch so much football, especially since lockdown. I'm probably about 7-8 matches a week at this stage, mate. To be honest.
And I get told off by the missus for constantly watching football. But I'm getting to the point where my little one's watching it with me, so I've got to think. But I'm also in a lucky position. My wife loves watching football, so it's fine.
I'm personally, and I can't speak for yourself, but I'm as close to like doing this professionally in the amount of football I watch and analyze, because I watch it and I watch different team styles and things like that, which is why I kind of like know how I'd want to set this Wednesday team up, because I watch so much football, I see how other teams play and want to bring it into this Wednesday side, which is why I've been all about like focusing on our fullback system and things like that. It's very easy when you're in a Wednesday bubble to think that player's not good enough, but then you actually you've got to look outside of that and realise what's available and realise that actually having a good youth prospect, having someone like Pelopessi in your team, it's a positive to have, right? You want to have it going forward. But talking about players that Wednesday can bring in, Sheffield Wednesday way up move for former Huddersfield Town defender. Examiner Live, quote, relegation haunted Sheffield Wednesday... For God's sake, considering a summer move for Cheltenham Town defender Will Boyle. Despite missing a big chunk of the 2021 campaign due to a knee injury, he'll fit right in our injury room. Boyle has clocked up 36 appearances for Michael Duff's side this term. He's rose through the ranks at Huddersfield Town, largely played on the left of a back three next to captain Ben Tozer and Charlie Raglan, chipping in with 7 goals.
That's a good one for
to help Cheltenham secure promotion to League One. Right, so some facts that we've digged into this. We'll get this out of the way. He's 62 overall on FIFA. For my modern era, that's disgusting. Got to fix that. He's a bronze. We're back to that. But no, in all seriousness, he's 25 and his contract runs out in the summer. He's not the paciest, but you don't really need to be as a centre-back. We've got options that are actually quite pacey for centre-backs. The way we're playing out, I'm for this one. He's League 2, though. It's quite a step up. If we're League 1, this is perfect. It's only the next level up, and he's going to be promoted anyway. So we'll see. What do you feel on this one?
It's what the ones that it's those signings that you're looking at where you think, and especially with Darren Moore with what he's done at Donny, it's very much a Darren Moore signing. Going, look, you've done it at League 2. I reckon you can do it at League 1. It's what we need. If you look at our back four right now, Tom Leader's out of contract, might not be signing. Van Acken's on the way out. End of season, free agent. I offer you want to really baby him back so it doesn't happen again, because I offer the kind of one where
just get into enough fitness so he can sign for another club. That's the Wednesday way.
Yeah, but it's that kind of one where if you don't look after another injury like that, it's not great, and he ends up like being a League 2 player for most of his career because it just constantly happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
You look at our back four, we definitely do need someone. And 25, it's a good age.
Definitely is. Decent. Definitely is.
He's obviously very good in the air. because a lot of them are from corners. But is that going to be the case? We need someone who can do corners. Sorry, Bannon. I like you, but your corners are dreadful.
Yeah, we need a set piece taker in this team. I'm sorry. Right, Bannon, you need to stop taking everything, mate, because you might put him in training, but Jesus Christ. The amount of times this year I've gone, oh, it's the first man. Oh, it's the first man. Oh, look, it's the first man.
That free kick at the end of the Forest game, I really want a Windass to take it because Windass has got a good whip on it.
Yeah, but right, okay. I'd rather Bannon have took it than Harris. Because I've not seen Harris bury free kicks either. Why wasn't Reach taking it?
Yeah.
If you want to be honest, why wasn't Reach taking it?
Well, when I know we're going off tangent here, but when I saw that, I saw Harris and Bannon line up, and there was Patterson on the box waiting for a cutback. So I was wondering, they're going to play it back and he's just going to level it.
But if Will Boyle does come into this squad, what we've been missing really is we've not really had a defender that can score that much.
No.
Gorner's got a couple, not that, but like we've not had someone since like Reader that could bury them. And this sounds like it is.
He sounds like that kind of person.
I'll be easier. I'll be honest. It is easier at the lower leagues. Easier, easy to get goals from centre backs, and they often get them from set pieces because the game's based around that in a lot of teams. But 7 goals in League Two from a centre back. That's the thing for me. Bringing that into the team.
Isn't that like one of our second top goals this season? Jesus.
Yeah, it's not been a great season for Wednesday, but I would happily see this. Like, 25 is a good age. He's not the paciest, but he's got a goal in him, and he's part of a back. This is the thing that interested me. Will Boyle, he plays in a back three, which means playing out from the back, coming out.
So he already knows what he's doing. Yeah,
exactly. Taking the ball forward. Hutchinson, Boyle, Iorfa.
Yeah,
not bad. Or even Iorfa, Dunkley, Boyle with Hutchinson just in front of them, and then you pull it all the way out there. Ideally, for me, if Hutchinson's not in that, you put Iorfa in the middle. He's the one that comes through the centre because he likes to play that central midfield role. Boyle to the left of him where he plays for Cheltenham at the minute, and then you've got Dunkley or another central defender at the right.
And to be fair, I can see you doing a stream and screaming his name.
Boyle. Yeah. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'd like to see that one out of contract as well. It sounds like a Wednesday deal all over that. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, going on to teams of the season. Guess what? No Wednesday players are in it. Spoiler. So we'll go for the EFL real quickly. We thought we'd read this out because we do talk about the Championship and the leagues going down. So the EFL as a whole, just EFL, I think it's just League 1 and 2 they've included in this. It's Burge in net for Sunderland. The left back is Elder from Hull. Then you've got Beavers.
Mark Beavers of former Sheffield Wednesday. He's had a good season, actually.
Yeah. Should we get him back?
I actually know that apparently he said after he does with football, he may be training as a hairdresser.
All right. Should we get him back in the Wednesday central defence?
Yeah, go for it.
Why not? Team of the season. Atkinson at Oxford. 09 right back at Sunderland. Then you've got Ward in front of him. Then you've got Grant from Lincoln in midfield. Honeyman from Hull. And you've got McGeady, who's been great for Sunderland.
Yeah.
He was crap for us, but he's been so good everywhere else. Clark Harris up front, and then Wyke up front for Sunderland as well. The manager is the Hull manager, Grant McCann.
But this does also show you can go up first time if you do it right.
Yeah, exactly. We just never do. Hopefully this is the season if we go down. So, Championship team of the season. This is more relevant to us. Not for long. Norwich have got a lot of players in here. The manager, Daniel Farke, is the manager, and then they've got Hanley and Aarons in defence, Buendia on the wing, and Pookie up front, and then you've got Begovic in net for Bournemouth, and Danjuma from Bournemouth on the wing. Watford, despite getting promoted, only got one player, Messina at left back, Morrison for Cardiff at centre back, Mowat from Barnsley, a Barnsley player, has got in the Championship team of the season. Barnsley have been good this season, though, in fairness.
Very good.
Elise from Reading in the midfield as well, and then Tony for Brentford up front. So
were we linked with Hanley a couple of seasons ago from Blackburn?
Maybe.
I'm sure we were linked with him.
We got linked with everyone. We got linked with Jordan Rose for 4 or 5 years before he actually signed. Well, eventually it happened, and that went well. But yeah, there you go. Teams of the season Sheffield Wednesday aren't involved with. Now we go on to the community topics. So we're going to start with... We've got 3 today.
Wait.
Christopher Elsie. I thought I'd come up with a lighter topic with the inevitable prospect of relegation looming. Cheery. Thanks, Christopher. Lighter topic. Wonderful start. With the hope of being able to return to watch games at Hillsborough next season, I wonder what's your opinion on the best and worst music heard at our home games. By this, I mean the music played at kickoff, halftime, at the end of the game. It goes without saying that most of us love Hi Ho Silver Lining, but in my opinion, you can also can't beat when we play Waterfront by Simple Minds. Agree with that. It also made me laugh when we used to play I Fought the Law by The Clash at the end of games when we won, managed by Brian Laws. Worst music, in my opinion, was when Dave Allen made them play classical music at the start of the game. It created zero atmosphere. Great show as always. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Christopher. It's weird for me. I'm just going to go out with the fact that I find it weird that they're constantly playing not Arctic Monkeys, Bring Me the Horizon at the minute.
Yes.
That's an interesting one for me. It's the modern Bring Me the Horizon as well. It's like, well, that's Sheffield. Funnily, actually, no, that's going to be my question for later. I'll tell you that in a bit. Go on.
I used to always love the 92 Unlimited. Get ready for it every time. Do you remember that?
I need to hear it.
For a long time, we used to play.
Sing it. Sing it. Can't play it for copyright reasons. Sing it.
I need to.
Oh, yeah. No, I get you.
I used to love that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I used to absolutely love that because it did actually get the crowd going, but you used to sometimes some of the away player going, "Ooh, it's a bit bouncy." There'd been some crap ones down there at the times. I remember when they were doing an unsigned thing, and it was great. Some of them did go on, but some of them were just poor.
No, it was the same bands on that unsigned thing though, and I've been on the band circuit. I always knew which band was coming on next. Next community topic. Thanks for that, Christopher. It's from Luke Rayalp. I can't read. Having accepted relegation weeks ago, we're all so positive. Why do we have to do this? This is the slowest death possible. Also, do you know any plans regarding letting the fans back in, and do you intend to see them in the game straight away? No plans on that. No. Also, I'm not too sure. It's a case of I'll go here and when next season. I'm going to focus a lot on content creation. I'm going to try and see every match, even if it's on replays and things like that. But my big focus next year is going to be on content creation and fan engagement. Yeah, but I would like to get back in the ground at least 10 matches, at least that next season, even if we're in League One.
My thing with going to games, it all just depends on how my health is.
I'm not really vibing a season ticket anymore. I'm not going to lie. I'm not feeling that, but I would want to go to a few more.
The fans thing, I could see them letting them go back start of August, but then it all depends how this summer goes with everything. How this summer goes with the numbers is depending on how everything goes. Because if that starts climbing, you're not getting fans back, and then they're going to have to figure out how to refinance the world of sport and stuff, because you need fans in for you generating your cash. Yeah. For me, going back, it's all on a health basis thing. If I'm well enough and I can allow myself to go, and I got a mate to go with to make sure I'm okay as well, I can go. If not, I'll just do my content. But again, for me, it's about trying to build content a bit more. If you haven't, I apologize, I'm not plugging the channel, I'm not trying to, but if you haven't noticed on my thing, I am trying to do things a little bit different.
I'll allow it. It's just when you're in my stream, people are going, what's your video? Where's your video? I'm like,
I rarely respond. I
know, you're pretty good. But I'm sat there like, literally, guys, the camera's on me, can we not? Just let me have my moment. I'm literally sat in a camera talking to you and you're going, Punk, so when you're doing your next video?
But I am planning on trying to up it and try and do things, and I'm trying to see if eventually, if I can get this to work, I'm going to teach you how to do it, and then you can do it in your things.
I know. Once you actually, I know how it works in principle, so it shouldn't be too difficult when we actually get it together. So the next one, the last one, thanks for that, Luke, is Captain Nat. Any celebrity encounters? Now, I'm going to link mine in because I'll go first this time because it was links to what we were talking about earlier. Well, I've been a fancy man working on the telly box, so I've worked with some celebrities.
Look at him, Mr. I've worked on the telly box.
We're not gonna go into that because I'm not being Mr. Fancy Man. I've worked on the telly box because it's actually quite boring.
Hang on. Is it going to be another story of someone in the toilet?
No, this is going to be a better one.
Oh, God.
I don't want to go for that one because they're the boring ones. They're the ones that I met for work and things like that. So this one, right, is a random one. Okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell. I'm going to tell it. So I was on a first date a few years back. And now, for some reason, we'd been.
For some reason, I've got the tale of older time going through my head of music.
We'd been for a few drinks.
Yeah.
In Sheffield.
Yeah.
as part of the date, and then I was like, oh, we're hungry, but restaurants are starting. It was late,
Yeah.
so it was like they were stop taking.
Kitchen was starting to shut down.
Yeah, so we were like, do we really want to go? I want some food. We both wanted food, so we were like, after we'd been drinking, we were like, do you know what? It's really, really awkward on a first date to go to McDonald's, but should we just go to McDonald's because it's near us? Right, so we went to the one near, the one at Meadowhall Retail Park.
Yes.
We went there, and I was just sitting, eating on this first date, and I looked to my right, and talking about Bring Me the Horizon, Ollie Sykes had walked to get some of the, just pick up a nice curry pouch, picked up some sauce. And I was like, I've had a few drinks, but I'm like, that's Ollie Sykes. And I'll try and pick up, I'll try and get the pit.
I'll try and get the lad, isn't he?
I'll try and get the picture for the podcast, but I ended up just being like, that's Ollie. Are you? I sort of looked at, he looked at me, he saw me, and he gets it all the time. So he was like, I was quite drunk, and I was like, are you Ollie Sykes? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I saw you in 2000. Just did the chat sort of thing. Talked about music for a little while, and then he went off. But yeah, it was a really interesting one because that's a hell of a first date story as well. But it's yeah, that didn't go well. But it was, but the
what did you just leave her and sat on her own having a McDonald's?
Oh yeah, no, I just sodded off with Ollie Sykes. Yeah, no, we had a great time there, but it was an interesting one. And I genuinely was like, if I didn't get a picture of this, nobody would have believed this had happened. But it was one of those that was interesting. What about yourself?
Mine's a strange one. Bill Oddie.
Bill Oddie.
Yes, I was literally going to go watch a gig at the Lead Mill. I think I was going to see Therapy and the Wild Hearts.
God, I haven't been to the Lead Mill in ages, but then
they were playing there, and we were walking around and we just going past and stuff. And this bloke goes, "Give me, mate." I went, "Yeah, fine." I was like, "Oh my God, you're Bill Oddie." I said, "Yes, well done. Do you want the prize?" And walked off. He was there for a bird show convention or something with the RFPB, and he was just filtering it out. And he's tiny. He's such a tiny little man.
I noticed that because I'm 6'4", right? I notice when I meet people in life that I've seen on TV, and I'm like, you are short. How many boxes do you stand on? But yeah, that's stories for other days. But yeah, thanks for that, Captain. That brings the light bit on the end of the community topics. Before we have to delve in to upcoming matches, and it's Derby. We don't need to talk about this. We don't need the record. It's a cup final.
We just need to win.
If Rotherham lose on Tuesday, it's all to play for against Derby. Let's see what happens. It's all going to the last day, and that's all we need to know. That's all I've got to talk about this week, Punk. Have you got anything to bring up, my friend?
Not really. Let's just see what we do. I think we're both just shocked that we're still talking in this position and not drowning our sorrow, going, I don't want to do the Papa John trophy.
No, I know, with the under-21s from the Prem sides in it. But yeah, that's possibly going to be lights out next week. We've been saying this for 2 weeks now. The next podcast is probably the one. But next week, we will know. So make sure you are...
Wait, did you say it'll be lights out?
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, look at that. It was almost smooth. But that's it for this week's episode of the Talking Wednesday podcast, guys. Like below, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on the podcast feed, leave us nice reviews. But until next time, I'll see you in the next episode. Talking Wednesday.